James had just moved to upstate New York, and he knew no one except for a few flaky work associates. One night, during a January blizzard, he heard a faint meow emanating from the nearby alleyway adjacent to his apartment. He ventured into the snowstorm and found a half-frozen, gaunt kitten in the alley next to his apartment. In the preceding months, he nurtured the cat back to health, and soon the cat was forever in his debt, loving him dearly and always beside him. She was sitting on his lap, sitting nearby or watching him and analyzing his every move. She loved to be pet and relished the opportunity. James named her Siggie, after the famous psychologist Sigmund Freud. One morning, while finishing his breakfast, a bird slammed into his apartment window, instantly breaking its neck and falling down to the ground below. It startled him momentarily, but he thought little of it, and on his way to work, simply dropped the bird into a nearby garbage can in the alley. After an arduous day at work, James rushed home looking forward to a relaxing evening. He glanced at his apartment window and saw Siggie patiently waiting for him. Below the window, he saw a gruesome sight. The same window the bird had slammed into earlier was littered with birds lying on the ground below. He counted 5 birds, all dead. Stunned by the strange probability of so many birds crashing into his window, he decided to close the blinds to decrease the deaths. He picked up a newspaper and scooped the birds into the same garbage can, now holding 6 dead birds. He was greeted by Siggie as he entered his apartment, rubbing against his leg and nuzzling his feet. James bent down and gave her a few pets. He then noticed that Siggie's treats had spilt all over the kitchen floor. He found this strange, but was too tired to care, and simply cleaned up the remaining treats. After cleaning, he sat on his couch to watch TV and relax after a long day. On cue, Siggie jumped into his lap and began purring peacefully. He watched the Bulls-Celtics game, and at halftime, headed to the bathroom. On the way there, he kicked one of Siggie's toys across the room, thinking Siggie could use the exercise. He returned from the bathroom. He found Siggie sitting on the couch, only she had the toy in her paw. James sat down next to Siggie, grabbed the toy, and tossed it across the room. Siggie looked at the toy, and up at James. James said, "Don't you want your toy, Siggie?" To his surprise, something amazing happened. The toy flew into Siggie's awaiting paws. Dumbstruck, James quickly ran and grabbed his camera and taped Siggie catching the toy from across the room. He didn't know what to do. Should he exploit Siggie's talents for wealth, trekking across the country performing freak shows? Even more intriguing, was she born with telekinetic powers? Or was there something about his apartment that set it off? Why would her traits suddenly appear if she was born with it? Was he likely to acquire telekinetic powers? He decided to sleep on it and went to bed after hours of filming. James awoke the next morning and perfunctorily went about his morning routine. While brushing his teeth, he felt his left foot twitch, then his left leg. Then his torso followed. He fell to his left side. His arms caught him. He then felt his legs come up from under him, standing on all fours. The door opened, and he saw Siggie gazing lovingly from the couch. He felt his body walk on all fours towards Siggie. He sat on the couch, and Siggie crawled into his lap. His arms moved without James's consent, and pet Siggie. She purred ostentatiously. James sat on the couch in terror. He tried to get up, but Siggie forced him back. He tried to pick her up with his free hand, but she forced it down. Siggie sat on his lap, receiving pets delightfully content. She got up and casually strolled to her water bowl and drank a few sips. The cat food bag, which leaned against the wall, fell. and she devoured the nuggets. James tried with all his strength to leave the couch, but he was quickly overpowered and slammed back into the couch. James had become the pet. Siggie finished her breakfast and climbed back into James's lap. His hands pet her and scratched behind her ears. She slowly started to fall asleep, and James thought perhaps he could escape if he just did not wake her. He attempted to pick her up, but she awoke and quickly threw him back on the couch. Soon, she fell back asleep, and he decided he could wait until she used the litter box to escape. While Siggie used the litter box, James executed his plan. He slowly sneaked towards the door, but Siggie saw him and James helplessly flew back to the couch. Her powers had gotten progressively stronger from the night before. Days passed as James began to feel pressure sores build on his legs. His cell phone ran out of battery with no way to charge it. He ate whenever and whatever Siggie allowed, which was her cat food, and water from the bathroom faucet. It was the only way Siggie knew how to get food and water. Soon, the cat food, which was previously half empty, ran out, and it dawned on James that he would starve if he didn't escape. In a last effort, James grabbed Siggie's head and attempted to snap her neck before Siggie awoke. It was no use, as once he laid his hands on Siggie, she awoke, and his hands began innocuously petting her. As James feared, Siggie became hungry. She assumed James was also hungry. He sat on the couch and felt his mouth bite his left arm. The blood oozed from his teeth as he felt his flesh slide down his throat. He moaned through his teeth. Once James seemed full, Siggie chewed at his left leg and soon ripped off a small thumbnail-sized chunk of flesh. She was startled by his screams and quickly silenced him. At this point, James realized she wanted him alive for more pets, which he resumed after she was satisfied with her meal. James's landlord knocked on the door. James's monthly rent was 3 months late. When he did not answer, the landlord called the police. Soon, the police arrived and entered the apartment. The smell was overwhelming, a combination of feces and rotting flesh. They entered the apartment and found what was left of James. His body was missing large chunks of flesh bitten off his body with large and small teeth marks. The couch was stained with old brown blood. He had clearly bled out on that couch. The window of his apartment was slightly cracked open. Beneath the window were half-melted paw prints heading off the property